Olá, eu sou Laura Martins, editora do IT Forum, e estou diretamente do nosso segundo evento do ano, o IT Forum Praia do Forte, para conversar com a Moojan Asghari, uma das nossas especialistas e speakers internacionais. Hi Moojan, thank you very much for being here with us.
Hi Laura, thank you.
Thank you. So you have your keynote about AI. So I really want to start to asking you about how important is diversity in building some AI models.
As you know, and many of the audience, I'm sure they know it, we have a huge problem in terms of diversity in AI. Today, we have around 20% of participation of women in this field, and it's not a lot. One of the reasons is that women do not identify themselves with tech-related topics and tech-related jobs. The foundation of AI is very much linked to engineering skills. In order to be able to work with this technology, you need to have an understanding of how this technology is working, how is it built and developed on a very technical level. Of course, we need to have skills also in decision-making, creating strategies, leadership, empathy. These are actually things that are fundamentally important, and we also are lacking those positions for AI for women in these fields. So what is happening today is that because we don't have enough diversity in the teams who are building these technologies, we are creating products that are biased towards those whose data is missing, who are women and minorities. And this lack of diversity creates this biased products that is malfunctioning for them. Look at, for example, hiring products. They are not working so well with for women. They are filtering applications that women might exceed in them, and then we're filtering basically really good candidates. If you look at facial recognition, we are massively having biased products towards people with the black color skin. And I can go so on and on with these examples. So in order to create this diversity, we need to start early. That means that we need to start educating our children from a very young age to motivate them, to inspire them to learn about these technologies. So that means also you need to change the mindset of teachers, changing the mentality of parents to promote these type of jobs to their kids, to these children. So then later they pursue these careers. We did a very interesting survey at Women in AI, and we realized that women, young girls at the age of 15, that's when they decide which jobs they should, pursue and what kind of careers they want to have and so on. And you see that they stop thinking about works that they are very much into engineering and technical and STEM industry, basically. And that's a huge shrink at that age. And if you can catch them right at that time, then you can already increase the diversity of those workforce going to these technical majors and then later on be hired at the industry. Another level of that is in the corporation and in the industry itself, those who are going to hire these talents. So you have a lot of unconscious bias happening there where good talents, good candidates who are women, they get basically filtered out of the process of application because of the recruitment process, which is not fair and bias-free. So all in all, we need to join forces and put hand in hand together to increase diversity. And it's at every level of the family, of university, of corporation, and also even at the policy level that we can follow certain regulations and create them at the government level in order to make sure that we create these guidelines for the future of AI.
Yeah, make totally sense. And when we talk about diversity, we are talking about responsible and ethical AI, of course. And these are two terms about AI that is kind of like trying to humanize our AI. We also have like hallucinations, and we are not talking about mistakes, but something like humans will do, like hallucinations. So how good or how bad could be try this humanizer AI for you?
It's actually a very interesting question. It goes back to the desire of humanity in creating something that resembles itself. So if you look, for example, we created puppets, as humans for us to create something that looks like humans and we can relate to it. And on a psychological level, that is something that creates some empathy for us. So we want to feel this empathy because at the end we're humans and we have this like mammalian part of our brain that wants to feel love and wants to feel compassion and feels connection at the end. And if you look at our technologies, we're trying to make that like we started having, for example, this watches when they have a screen and you can see a face on it. I don't know if your age allows to remember that Tamagotchis. We used to like have this like based on this device that you're feeding it and growing it as your baby and so on, because we want to feel connected to that technology. So I think part of it is this that craving in our, as human is this longing for connection and creating this empathy around us. And on the other side, of course, it can create some hallucination for us, and that can feed manipulation. So, for example, what interesting thing is happening is that in Japan especially, there's a lot of innovations towards that. They have a lot of humanoid robots. There's a very famous professor, which I don't recall his name. He has created humanoid robots, like exactly copies of himself and in the body of real humans. They resemble so much that you can't identify at the first sight if that's a human, a real human, or a robot. So what does that do to you? If you cannot identify if the person in front of you is a real person or not, then what can happen to you? If you think about that, is well, you don't know and you get manipulated, right?
Yeah, because we cannot trust anymore, I don't know, videos or audios because I have like deep fakes and all, but if you cannot like see someone like alive and you cannot realize if it's a person or not, it would be crazy.
That's actually the biggest issue, because one of the main regulatory frameworks that, companies, governments are working on, one of the principles of AI is that to make sure it's trustworthy and it's transparent. And one right for users is to know if they are talking to a human or to a robot. You have the examples of chatbots, like basically companion chatbots that, the movie Her, that you start as a person, especially if you're young, as a teenager, you can start developing emotions for that being that it's actually not a real being. It's a manufacturing of us humans, and it's just based on codes and artificial emotions or intelligence behind it. And then yet it can manipulate you and it can trigger things in you that it goes against your rights, your fundamental rights as a human. And if you look at many of these chatbots or companions or assistants, many of them are actually holding a female voice on them, a female voiceover like Siri, Alexa, and Sophia. Sophia is already a female robot. So asking yourself, why is that actually like that? I have asked that question myself a lot. And the main reason is that the builders of them are mostly men. And so they're building robots who are assistant, compassionate, kind, soft, listening, be at service. And this is actually fundamentally going against the women's rights, in my point of view, because we are creating an image that is stereotyped, is actually biased towards what does it mean a real woman. A real woman is not always somebody who's listening and who's kind and is
working for you, right?
And working for you and providing. Exactly. And we're creating this extended layer of the biased reality we're living in to the product that then is going to be in the hand of so many people. And you can have that also in even more disruptive industries such as sex tech, that many of the actually sex robots are built in a way that is propagating and perpetuating very wrong, harmful mindsets. And that is also a huge problem that goes against the women's value, human rights value, and perpetuating even, very, very bad behaviors. So all in all, I think there is a certain benefit towards humanizing technology, but it needs to be very well monitored. And the user needs to always know that's a robot, and the robots needs to always, or like the AIs basically can be a software, to communicate that they have limits and they're not gonna intervene with us and manipulate us.
Yeah, makes sense. And last of my questions, after all we talked, how do you believe it would be the future of the world with AI? I know it's hard.
Yeah, so my talk was about the future of AI creating an inclusive, ethical, and sustainable AI. And what I believe is that AI has a huge power and potential in building a world where we can thrive. We can have so much more time to do things that we love it, and they really identify us as humans. Because as a human, people say that, okay, AI is going to replace every part of you, and then you're not going to have anything to do anymore. I'm like, as a human, we love art. We create things with our hands. We have emotions. These are things that AI can never replicate it. They can mimic it. But things that we love doing, we will have just a lot of more time to do them. And we can augment ourselves, augment our senses and capabilities in doing them in much better and bigger dimensions. So I definitely believe that AI has that power and potential. But I also fear a lot on the dark side of AI, where we are going to create technologies that are going to enslave us and manipulate us and spread around wrong information and harm the society. And why these two can both happen at the same time, and I think they happen at the same time, is because we humans, we hold the dark side and the light side of us. And AI is an extension of us. It's us with all our biases, all our values, and all our humanity together. So it's so important to make sure we're raising this kid and inspire this kid on the best part of us, not the worst part. That's why all the work that I'm doing is basically to inspire people to align three main things of the people, planet, and the purpose. Because this is the only way I think that we can create a future for AI that is benefiting everyone, not just a small group of people.
The same one, right? The same group. Moojan, thank you very much again for being with us. I hope you are enjoying the event. E você que está acompanhando o nosso vídeo, não deixe de ver toda a cobertura do IT Forum Praia do Forte em itforum.com.br, no nosso LinkedIn e no nosso Instagram. Muito obrigada!